Russian officials are calling Trump's impeachment trial a farce as Serbia elects their new Orthodox patriarch. In this video, we're going to take a look at a recent interview with the Russian foreign minister who's calling out the swamp's kangaroo court against Trump, how the Serbian Orthodox Church has indeed just elected their new patriarch, and how both Russia and Serbia in their own ways are leading the way to a post-secular, post-globalist world. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Wonderful to be with you. As always, we're here to give you each and every day conservative hope in the midst of these turbulent and trying times, helping you to think better and so you can feel better. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. We'd love to have you as a regular part of this channel. Also, we've been celebrating all week the return of Parler and the return of our 60,000 subscribers there. So wonderful to be back with everyone over there. And so for you Parler fans, make sure to click on that link below and subscribe to my Parler channel. Let's together support the return of this wonderful alt-tech site. Before we begin, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that's BioTrust and their awesome immune support product, Ageless Body. With our rapid advances in science over the years, there really are much more powerful ways, much more effective ways to boost our immune systems than just taking mega doses of vitamin C. In fact, our sponsors over at BioTrust had combined 4 of the world's best immune supporting powerhouses along with that mega dose of vitamin C into their #1 immune support product, Ageless Body. Simply put, Ageless Body provides you 5 of the most powerful immune support ingredients available, including their #1 immunity support recommendation, turmeric, which is 46 times better absorption than most other forms. And best of all, if you click on that link below today, you can now get Ageless Body at their lowest price ever, 51% off with free US shipping to boot. So don't wait. Click on that link below or go to my website, agewithsteveturley.com. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. The Russian foreign minister Sergei Lavrov was interviewed the other day on the program of a very popular Russian journalist named Vladimir Solovyov, and the conversation turned to Donald Trump and the recent impeachment fiasco. And Sergei Lavrov did not mince words. When asked about Trump, he said, quote, "He's an outstanding person. I remember my 2 meetings with him. Once when I was on a visit to Washington, on also the talks he had with President Vladimir Putin, which I attended. Donald Trump is a remarkable politician, acting from his own experience. Where there is benefit, everything must be done to maximize it. Where there is no benefit, let things take their course." And then the topic of the impeachment proceedings came up, and Lavrov said, quote, "I am shocked by the impeachment proceedings. The charges brought against him. You can watch and listen to Trump's video addresses again and again." And Solovyov finished the thought with, there was nothing criminal in anything Trump said, right? And Lavrov absolutely agreed. In fact, he went on to say, you know, the left is otherwise always excited to see speakers get up and rally people to civic involvement and action, BLM activists and the like. Now suddenly speeches like that are criminal and worthy of impeachment. Now, if you don't know, Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, he's a very, very impressive fellow. Not only was he very, very critical of big tech canceling President Trump, but he's also been on the forefront of developing a post-globalist international relations. How does that sound? It's very, very fascinating. One distinctive difference between globalist and post-globalist international relations is the replacement of what one might call a cosmopolitan social order with a communitarian social order, okay? So a cosmopolitan approach to international relations sees the world comprised fundamentally of sovereign individuals within a globalist political and economic order. And these sovereign individuals have a certain number of rights rooted in political, economic, and social liberalism, cosmopolitanism. So within such a scheme, every single human person now has a right to choose not just their own religion and spouse and career, but their own sexual orientation, their own gender, increasingly one's own place of residence in terms of immigration, legal or illegal. So this is what's known as a cosmopolitan order, and it really has been the basis for modern secular globalist international relations. But a post-globalist international order would be far more reflective of what's called a communitarian social order, which centers not on the sovereign individual, completely divorced from nation, culture, and custom, but rather on the cultural inheritance of each particular nation, now seen through the prism of tradition and the particulars of religious and cultural identity. And this is where Sergei Lavrov comes in. Lavrov has recently rejected the notion, the secular mythology, that religions inevitably pit people against each other, religions are divisive and the like. Instead, Russia's found that religious traditionalism is actually the great geopolitical unifier. And that's the position of Sergei Lavrov, who has recently stated that, quote, universal human solidarity must have a moral basis resting on traditional values, which are essentially common for all of the world's leading religions. And so increasingly, the geopolitics of Russia are based on the notion that universal human solidarity must have a moral basis resting on traditional values, which are essentially common for all the world's leading religions. It's a natural law argument, if you're familiar there. It's also known as the Philosophia Perennis, so the perennial philosophy made up of the wisdom traditions in the various religions and how they cross over with each other in terms of their understanding of the hierarchical nature of reality, rightly, a heavenly hierarchy that's captured in the world's great religions. So, for example, Lavrov cited the joint statement made by Patriarch Kirill and Pope Francis, in which they reiterated their support for the traditional family as a natural center of life for individuals and society and the foundation for human civilization. And the important point here is that the common factor in a post-globalist international order is no longer this cosmopolitan notion of the sovereign individual completely emancipated from traditional norms and values. It's actually precisely those traditional norms and values, such as commitments to the natural family, to faith-based communities, to natural law, traditions, and the like, that function as the common unifier in a post-globalist world order. And speaking of a post-globalist world order, the nation of Serbia, or better, the Serbian Orthodox Church, has just elected their new patriarch, which is crowning Serbia's very noticeable turn towards becoming a fully post-secular society. Now, before we get into that, I do want to make sure you get your free gift. Make sure to click on that link down below and download your fake news antidote. Now, we've updated a compilation of over 30 alternative news sites that I go to for my news each and every day. They're all conservative, all celebrating Trump and the nationalist populist revolt. And boy, do we need these resources now more than ever. You can download your own copy of our updated fake news antidote completely free at the link down below in the pinned comment section. And you'll have a ready list of your go-to sites that you'll definitely enjoy and will inspire you through these trying times. And it's yours absolutely free by clicking on that link below. It's my gift to you. All right, so the Serbian Orthodox Church, they've just elected their new leader, who's replacing Patriarch Irine, who one of the great champions of conservative traditionalism on the world stage. He passed away in November at the age of 90. The Patriarch Porfilia Peric, who's said to be close to the Serbian president, Alexander Vucic. Vucic is trying, as I understand it, he's trying to balance out Serbia's vying for membership of the EU on the one hand, while maintaining friendly relationships with Russia, their historic ally, on the other. It's certainly a difficult balancing act and one that may be impossible. We'll have to see. But regardless, with the enthronement of the new Serbian patriarch, it throws into relief, at least for me, a number of articles that have come out over the last few years on Serbia's very noticeable post-secular turn. What post-secular theorists argue is that around the world, globalist secular frames of reference are increasingly incapable of offering an adequate description of social reality as experienced by vast populations in the world, those both within and outside of the West. Secularism is simply not a plausible means anymore describing social reality. And so scholars are employing this term post-secular as a way of describing the current religious resurgence that more and more nations are finding themselves in. And Serbia is no exception to this. Recent articles on events such as the Serbian Army's formal celebration of St. George as their patron saint, or how an increasing number of Serbian public schools are celebrating patron saints and implementing Orthodox Christian rituals in their education, or the water utility public company marking the festival of Epiphany in January by having an Orthodox priest bless the water from the city sewer. All these events show that Serbia is emerging as a key post-secular nation, which of course is only going to strain the relationship with the bullies in Brussels, who haven't taken too kindly, for example, to Hungary and Poland's move towards the post-secular. We'll have to see how all of that works out. But regardless, I think that Russia and Serbia and many other nations in Central and Eastern Europe are showing us what desecularization looks like at multiple levels of society and culture. In other words, we all too often, I think at least here in the United States, perhaps Western Europe, we all too often think of religion in purely personal and subjective terms. This, after all, is how the notion of religion evolved after the Enlightenment in the 18th century. It became rather commonplace to think of religion as something that just affected people solely at what we might call the micro level, the level of the individual human person, with little relevance beyond the personal and the subjective. But what post-secular scholars are noticing is that more and more societies like Russia and Serbia are evidencing desecularizing processes at higher levels, such as the meso level of institutions like schools and the macro level of society like the military. Indeed, like we saw with Sergei Lavrov, some scholars are even recognizing a burgeoning post-secularism as what's called the mega level, the level of international relations and transnational interrelationships. When all is said and done, the emergence of a post-secular age indicates that religion can no longer be thought of in privatized terms. Religion can no longer be sequestered solely to subjective. Religion is, in point of fact, once again reorganizing the totality of social and cultural life in ways that have profound effects for the foreseeable future. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And you'll definitely want to check out my latest video. I just uploaded it. It's on how Australia is stomping on big tech as thousands of Aussies delete their Facebook profiles. You are not going to want to miss this one. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.